What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. My squad with me, T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigo.
Let's do this. So listen, y'all, I'm so excited. I got the crew back with me this week. Last week I was solo dolo, but we're good. So check this out. The Bible says that everything hidden will be revealed. And so I want you to listen to, recently James Harden said he wanted out of Philly and that he's looking to go, he wants to go to the Clippers. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. But a GM who he had for years in Houston, Daryl Morey, him and James Harden are having beef. And I want you to hear what James Harden has to say about the beef.
Dolphin
Doggone it.
two directions at once. But this,
let's get through this video and then we'll get to it. Forgive me for the technical difficulties, but I want you to hear it from the man's own mouth.
Word up.
Daryl Morey is hired. I will never be a part of the organization that he's part of.
So he's basically said Daryl Morey is a liar, and I'll never be a part of any organization that he's a part of. So my question becomes, what happened between y'all that started off that, y'all was chummy and everything, tighter than a clam with lockjaw. Now, all of a sudden, I ain't never, ever going to be a part of an organization that he's a part of. I don't know what happened. I don't know if maybe Daryl said, hey, I'm going to try to get you over here, or I may make some arrangements for you. I don't know. I don't know if he told him, if you try to opt out, then we can get you a long-term deal, whatever. I don't know what happened, but I do know this. When a player says, I ain't never, never is a very strong word. You don't come back from never. It's either there's never and then there's never ever.
Yeah, for real.
There is no play. There is no flexibility when the word never comes up. So I'm wondering what happened that they went from, tight to I ain't got nothing to say to do no more. I don't want nothing to do with it. And the fact that it's almost like you held a press conference to say it. This wasn't something that, somebody overheard you saying, or it was a reporter put it out. He heard it or you tweeted it. No, I'm looking at the video because that's what I played. And he had a press conference talking about it. So what do you think is the reasoning for something this dramatic? And here's the thing. Whatever leverage James Harden had, he does not have it anymore. So if there's something that, because you can't tell a GM to the world, I'll never be on a team that he's on. Wait a minute. What team you trying to get on? You don't think he knows that GM? You don't think he knows whatever team you trying to get on? You don't think he knows that GM? You don't think that some way, somehow he could possibly sabotage wherever you want to go? So what do you think, Will? I know Tim got a lot to say about this, but what do you think, Will?
Well, it's a couple of things. If he's calling the man a liar, obviously Daryl Morey told him that if you sign this contract, I'm going to either match you out or trade you to the team that you want to go to. That's what he told him. So he signed the contract. Now, neither one of those things happened. And that's the reason why Harden is calling the man a liar. It can't be anything other than that. But you $300 million into the game. You and Daryl Morey was together almost a decade. You made $300 million with that man. And now all of a sudden you can't be with him? I don't understand it. But and then you say that James Harden don't have any leverage. I disagree. I think he has big leverage. Reason why is Philadelphia, they can't trade him, so they can't get nothing for him. Any other team in the league already know, he don't want to play for y'all. James Harden don't got to come to camp. He can come play crazy like he did when he was leaving them other teams. When he was on Houston, he was averaging 30 points a game. When he got mad at them, he started averaging 12. So James Harden still has a lot of leverage. And then you got Joel Embiid on the team, a team that's supposed to be a championship caliber team. And here we go again with Joel Embiid. You don't went from Simmons to Harden to Jimmy Butler, so he can never catch a lick where he got some loyal consistency with his teammates. So I think James Harden has some leverage. He could come in fat. He could go in the game and play games. He could not play at all. He got $300 million. He ain't got to come to work. He'll be all right. So I think that's what happened. And I think Daryl Morey promised the man something that he wasn't able to deliver on. And I think that's where the beef came up.
Pete Mack.
Yeah, I agree with. I agree with parts of what both of you all have said. What Will just laid out, I think is spot on. I think that there was some negotiation, some good faith conversation that was based on relationship. I played with you before. I know you. You my guy. I consider our relationship a bit beyond transactional. I consider you a friend. And if you're telling me some stuff, I'm taking it as your word is bond. And so since y'all didn't sign me to no long-term deal, multi-year type, another max contract, you said, tell you what, bro, we left you hanging there. But if you just sign off on this player option for this 1 year, we'll do everything in our power to send you on your way and give you a golden parachute, so to speak. Now, what they didn't tell him was, we're going to be asking for everything in the kitchen sink for you. And while you still have, some value, you don't command the type of ransom that you might have done earlier in your career. And it might not all the way be because of diminished skills. It might be more so to where teams don't want to roll the dice on your antics because you can be flaky as you are distributing or displaying, I should say, right now. Once again. Exactly. The latest episode. Now, to Pastor Skip's point, the leverage piece, I think it might be a little bit limited because of the baggage, we don't know what we're going to get, and maybe starting to teeter into your lack of performance. Hey, man, you've had a couple of playoff series where your main guy, the Batman, went down. You played Robin for a little while in Houston. Chris Paul was your Robin to your Batman, and you had an opportunity to deliver and came up short. So the question might not even be, will you deliver? Question is, can you? Now, James Harden being pissed, excuse my French, or really ticked off, I get that. I've shared before on this, show that going back to high school, I was faked out by a coach, ran a particular race in track and field, the 400 meters. I ran lead off leg to get us from regionals to sectionals. My man told me, you only got to run this one time. I'm like, hey, coach, I don't do that. I don't do sprints over 200. Tim, we need you. You got to do it. Now, okay, I'll go. I'm only going to run it this one time. Don't ask me no more. I'm doing this, taking one for the team. You got my word. I won't ask you to run it again. Soon as that race was over with, we were packing up, going back to the bus to drive back to school. He said, hey, you guys, we got to do it again. Sectionals on Thursday. This was a Tuesday night. Tim, we need one more from you. I said, nah, bro, I ain't running that race no more. That was my one time to run it. And he got kind of slick mouth with it. Well, you are going to run. Hold on, bro. You the one that went back on your word. It wasn't me going back on my word. I've already extended the olive branch. I've already taken one for the team, and I did that in good faith because you said, if I do this, you gonna do something. So he gave me an ultimatum saying, well, hey, either you're gonna run in sectionals or you can turn in your uniform when we get back to the school. Guess what I did? I turned in my uniform. You can't make me do nothing. You ain't my daddy, Joker. So get out of my face. So James Harden, on an amplified scale, felt that way because when he signed what he signed, whatever commitment he made, he only did that because the guy who was asking him, he trusted him. So for him to come out and call him a liar, not handling it in a more classy kind of a way, got with him behind closed doors, caught him out on the carpet, kept that in-house. The fact that he went public with it speaks to the level of hurt that James Harden was, not in that he can't, take a blow. It's just that he didn't expect the blow to come from somebody he trusted. David said, it's easy for me to know when my enemy is after me, but when my brother is coming after me, that's out of order. A la Draymond Green knocking out Jordan Poole. Okay, you my team, certain lines you ain't supposed to cross. So my man crossed the line. So James Harden is ticked off because of the level of respect he thought that relationship had that was portrayed. And I think that with regards to his leverage, he can't come in, like Will said, all slouchy, try and sabotage the season, try and, be all potty mouth and all that kind of stuff. But I think he's already starting to have the law of diminishing returns associated with him. I think that'll just exacerbate that. And whatever he's trying to salvage, I don't think that will help. He might have to just take as best of a high road that he can, try and get out of there and go in, be a straight professional. You call dude a liar or whatever. So now you just be a grown man from here on out and trust that you doing the right thing. Somebody else can come to the rescue, even if that means you're having conversations with other folks while this stuff is going on before the season starts, and you might be able to either get something out of Philadelphia before the season starts or have to hold your nose and play to the All-Star game and get shipped out of there then. But right now, I think he's in the, between a rock and a hard place, but he got $300 million, like you said, Will, so that should, soften the blow some.
Well, here's the thing.
Let me say this too, Tim.
Go ahead.
Hey, Skip, excuse me. Let me just say this. Or he might act like my brother Tim and say, you know what? I'm turning in my jersey.
That's a fact.
It could be a matter of
that is a fact too.
It could be a matter of principle with that man. He could say, you know what? I operate on your word is your bond. And once you show me that your word ain't your bond, I can't mess with you no more. And that might be the principles that he stand on. So it's 60 days, we'll see.
Yeah, he could go nuclear like that as well. That is definitely a possibility.
That's all those things are possible. Here's the thing. So it says, I'm just reading, it said, Harden opted into a $35.6 million deal for the 23-24 season ahead of free agency with the intentions of being traded. He reportedly wanted to go to the Clippers. Morey, who spent 8 seasons with Harden in Houston with the Houston Rockets, said he is attempting to honor Harden's request, but only at the right price. If we don't get either a very good player or something we could turn into a very good player, we're not just going to do it. And I get it, because Morey has to not just think about Harden, he has to think about, what do I have to do to keep Embiid? This ain't just about you, bro. I can't just trade you out and the cupboard's bare, because Embiid already said, I want to play for a championship team, whether it be here or somewhere else. Go ahead, Tim. You got something you wanted to say?
I was just going to jump into that, and everything that you said is on point. The only thing I'll add is that, did he make that clear to James? Hey, look, James, we didn't sign you long-term contract, but if you sign this option, I'm gonna do everything I can to get you out of here. Did he also add an addendum to that conversation saying, but just so you know, I'm gonna be asking for everything in the kitchen sink? So it might be a poison pill to other things. And if he didn't do that, that might be where that conviction of liar came from. That came from a place of a guttural inside his heart. Because James
And
ain't even one
if
that
he would have did
talk like
that,
that.
if he would have did that, you wouldn't have saw that.
Yeah. So I think that I think he missed that little part, and now he's trying to save face to make it look like, hey, he's wrong about me. But it's like, wait a minute, James went out of character to call you that something, but he ain't want to even go out like that. So I'm thinking that Daryl might not have given him those full details about what he was going to be asking. He said, I'm gonna do everything I can, but he didn't tell him, I'm gonna ask for a king's ransom for you, though.
Yeah, and I get it. I think probably everything that should have been shared wasn't shared. But understanding the business of the NBA and understanding that, hey, when you left Brooklyn, you left that cupboard bare.
Right.
When you left Houston, you left that cupboard bare.
Right.
Philly is saying, you're not gonna leave our cupboard bare.
This ain't personal, this business.
Right. Ain't personal, this business. And again, what I added is, and we got to think about what can we do to keep Joel Embiid happy. Because if I have a choice between you and Joel, I'm going with Joel. If I got a choice between making you happy and him happy, I'm making Joel happy.
Let me ask you this, Pastor Skip. If this turns out to be the mess that is starting to look like it may, what is Joel Embiid's future with Philly? Does Philly say, well, hey, we've tried you with a couple of different folks and it just doesn't really matter. You got the MVP. Appreciate that. Congratulations. But maybe you aren't our meal ticket, Joel Embiid. So tell you what, we'll clean house, get rid of you, and get some other star players and maybe some picks and just start this thing from scratch, since this experiment that we've had with you going on 7, 8, 9 years now also hasn't borne much fruit either. We've lost players and a coach, a championship coach who's probably going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer with you as the centerpiece, and we can't get out the second round. Maybe the problem is you. Joel, is that a possibility, or they ain't quite there yet?
I don't think the problem is Joel. I do think it was Harden because it was said Harden wanted Rivers gone. How you gonna want Doc gone and then you leave? But I'm gonna say this:
he wouldn't have left if they would have maxed the man out. Everybody else got maxed out. Why he didn't get maxed out? Everybody got maxed out. Everybody got maxed out. How come he didn't get maxed out? Kyrie got maxed out in Dallas. Come on now.
Well, but Kyrie and James Harden are two different players.
Still, everybody got maxed out. And Daryl, you told me if I sign this contract, either you're going to max me out or you're going to put me on the team I want to be on. Your word is your bond. And you didn't do it. When me and you had our conversation, you didn't mention nothing about Joel Embiid and how he feels.
Right.
You didn't talk to me about how Joel Embiid felt. You didn't talk to me about the cupboard being bare. What you said was, hey, brother to brother, friend to friend, man to man, if and you do this, I will do that. And he didn't, and that's why he calling the man a liar, because he lied.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say he didn't, and all things are possible to them who are there. But for me, I just really think the one thing that Philly has to look at is if we're gonna blow this thing up, then it's really important that we get picks if we're blowing it up. It's real important.
It's blown up already. It's already blown up.
But you, as the GM, what would you make, Pastor Skip, of Joel Embiid after having him for as long as they've had him, after having his number two people from Jimmy Butler to James Harden to Ben Simmons, whatever, and ain't none of that stuff worked after giving him a pass for 2 or 3 years for injuries.
Right.
Like folks ain't trying to get Zion Williamson. Joel Embiid didn't play his first 2 or 3 years either because of injuries, but he blossomed. They stuck with him. Would you consider moving him because he ain't the man for us, despite his individual accomplishments?
I think I would have to look at what's out there that I can get for him. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, because what's a good trade for him to get?
He's the MVP of the league.
Right.
So you got to trade him for Giannis, Jokic. Them the kind of people you got to trade the MVP of the league for. Steph.
And none of those are going nowhere. None of those are going nowhere.
Well,
But those are the kind of people you trade the MVP for. You don't trade the MVP for Bobby Portis. You don't trade the MVP for Devin Booker. For Devin Booker. Devin Booker ain't no MVP. Now he's a superstar. He's not an MVP. An MVP got to be traded for an MVP.
And so with that being said, none of the MVPs are going anywhere.
No.
everything is negotiable.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask y'all this. Would y'all trade Giannis for Embiid?
I'm going to go with a double no.
Tim?
I wouldn't. I'm not really a fan of Joel Embiid personally, so that's why I was asking Pastor Skip if he was the GM, would he consider moving him? Not necessarily getting to what he would have to get into return, what's in consideration. Would you have a team that had Joel Embiid on it that then you make the decision to get rid of him? I'm saying I would get rid of him.
I would
try and shop around them other people because I don't think he is he's a great individual player, but you have individual players and then you have, players that make the team and other teammates better.
Right.
I don't see him as that. And, he can have monster game, 42 points, 15 boards. But if it's not translating into my team winning, then, hey, I'm going to ride it as long as I can. I'm going to squeeze every bit of pulp out that orange. But I'm going to pull the trigger, too, because my ultimate thing is winning championships. They ain't got to the Eastern Conference Finals, let alone the finals. And Joel Embiid has been, quote unquote, the man for going on a decade now. I'm just saying, hey, bro, maybe you ain't that dude. We saw Jimmy Butler lead a team to the finals maybe 2 of the last 3 or 4 seasons. And he was your number 2. You still there and ain't got as far as he done got, and he ain't on that team no more. And some would say maybe you are a better player. Okay, I'll concede that. How come your team ain't done nothing? And you didn't had a Hall of Fame coach that won a championship and some other all-stars around you. Maybe you the problem, not them other jokers, is all I'm saying.
Hey, listen, here's the thing for me. I pray that everything works out great for the Philly organization, but as a GM, there's nobody safe. If I was a GM of Philly, nobody's safe on that team. Not one player. I think the only player that may be safe is Maxey. Mm-hmm. Other than that, everybody. But if there's a great package that comes with Maxey, for Maxey, he going too. Because I think there needs to be, that culture needs to be scrapped. I think Philly needs a different culture because they don't have a championship culture and nobody on that squad can bring it. So for me, because I understand culture, because you know this, Pastor Tim, you can have a great game plan and a bad culture and it won't do nothing. But you can have an average game plan and a great culture and it'll blossom.
That's
so
a fact.
It don't matter how great you can have Pop over there, but if that culture's garbage, nothing's going to change. So there has to be a different culture, and I don't think Embiid can create it. I don't think Embiid, it's got to be a complete wash and redo for me if I was a GM to get what I believe is back to the glory years of Philly.
Well,
yeah,
I'm gonna go on record. I'm gonna go on record as saying it's over with. Period. Yeah. Philly ain't nobody talking about Philly as no NBA Finals team. Ain't nobody talking about them winning the East. They definitely ain't gonna win the West. So Philly, your opportunity to win the East really was last year, and y'all blew it. Y'all supposed to win the East when Miami went to the finals. Come on, man. Come on, that was y'all time. Giannis them got put out early, and y'all still couldn't do nothing. The process is over. Y'all got to go back. Y'all got to go back to the scraps.
Mic drop.
Y'all got to go back to the scraps and be, the Philly that y'all have always been.
Yeah, it's gonna take some
Pretender.
boldness from the
They
boldness
pretenders.
from the
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, boldness from the front office to say, "Hey, man, look, I will take it on the chin. I'll be a grown man about this, and have the stones to say, hey, look, nobody is untouchable here, and Joel Embiid, because you probably can procure the most value in return, you might be the number one target for us making the move. I know you just won the MVP and all that, but again, this ain't personal. This is business. And we done rode you for a minute. You've taken us as far as you can take us. We respect that. Thank you. Appreciate it. But we want more than that. And we don't believe that you will be able to do that because you ain't shown and proved that you have. And we ain't trying to do another decade of the experiment. We tried it. We put our best foot forward. We made some moves. We got rid of Ben Simmons. We brought in James Harden. We brought in some other young talent, the Maxis. We even rolled the little mid-level guys like Tobias Harris and all. We tried. We shuffled the deck. We rolled the dice. Got rid of Jimmy Buckets, all of that. And still here we are. Maybe we need to get rid of all you jokers and start from scratch and get some other value in return for you. Can't be much worse than where we are now, since we seem to be stuck in the second round with the league's MVP. So
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. James Harden went publicly and called Morey a liar.
Right.
One of the reasons that he did that may be to tell other NBA players and other free agents that you don't want to play for that man. So he might just been sending a smoke signal to the rest of the guys. I'm telling y'all, he's a liar, and I would never play for him. And if any of y'all go do it, y'all a fool. Part of what he was saying was to put Morey on blast to the rest of the league. That's part of why he did that.
So that was a PSA?
That's right. A straight up PSA. And if he wasn't trying to do it, he sure did it.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, so listen, another great show. Before we leave, what
happened to the Hall of Fame?
Hey, we're gonna give a shout out to the Hall of Famers. Congratulations to Dirk Nowitzki, Dwayne Wade, Paul Gasol, and Tony Parker for their NBA Hall of Fame induction. And so we're excited for them. We're looking forward to them going through the whole ceremony. But until next week, thank you for tuning in to the #1 faith-based sports talk show in the entire world, Into His Courts. You can see us every Tuesday from 7 to 7:30 right here on Joy 1340 AM, 98.7 FM. Until next week, have an amazing week. Peace.
Man.